So hey folks, I'm here in Las Vegas at the Customer Connect Expo speaking with Jimmy Hosang, and we'll be tackling the three big C's for AI, which is cost, complexity, and competition. We've already covered off costs, and if you've not seen that video, head back in and dive in and have a look because it's really, really useful. But we're talking now about complexity, and when we talk about complexity in the AI world, I think we're saying, right, actually, are we making it more complex than we need to? And do we need to simplify to make it more straightforward and easier for contact center professionals who don't have a massive dev team to be able to install and make the benefit and realize the benefit of a lot of these products? And I think that starts with strategy. So in your experience in working with contact centers who are deploying conversational AI, agentic AI workflows, how clear do you think people are on the reason and the purpose as to why they're implementing AI in their contact center?
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud.
They've got no idea.
Why do you think that is though? What do you think? Is that being driven by top brass saying we want AI, just get it in, and then somebody just going out and doing it? Or is it a lack of understanding of what the tech can do?
I've got sympathy. It's a combination of different factors. So first of all, there's a top-down piece, which is we need to do AI, but nobody knows what AI is. And even that, like even with new regulations and things like that, like I've spoken to you about the regulatory side of it, where the EU AI Act basically is so broad in its definition of AI that a 20-year-old Excel macro that does your planning models is classed as AI. So there's even
an Excel spreadsheet is AI.
It is. That's if you read it, it's a broad definition. So even at a regulatory level, like I think there's like a lot of confusion and complexity, and it's a lot of broad brush stuff. And then at a top level, it's like we need to do AI. We need to get on the AI bus. But I speak to a lot of like CD people. I'm like, yeah, but what are you trying to actually achieve? Then at an execution level, you've got probably like a couple of different schools of thought, a couple of different things happening. First of all, you've got the middle managers who've been told to do AI, but they don't know what to do, and so they're getting top down pressure, and then they're going out to market. They're talking to vendors like us, vendors like you guys, vendors like all around it.
Everybody in that room.
There's like 78,000 people who are doing agent assist or saying they're doing AI and stuff like that, and it blows people's minds. Yeah. So they're speaking to everybody, and I spoke to a few like key decision makers at some of these companies, and they're like, they're paralyzed because they're like, paralyzed. It's like, so
you don't know where to start.
Do I buy it from a CCaaS? So do I buy it from a CCaaS?
Yep.
Do I buy it from a CRM provider? Do I Microsoft are all over them like a rash. AWS are all over them like a rash. And I'm like, well, and then they're looking at their overall estate. They might have an estate that's got some people on an old dialer, some people on an old a chat platform, some people on a CCaaS. Some of the people we speak to, they've got in-source and outsource. So they've got 4 outsourcers who are all on different platforms. And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to like actually execute and deploy that bit? That is one thread. So you got
that's just one headache.
That's one heap of stuff. Swear. But then you've got your beard and sandals, like data science kind of.
You mean
piece.
You?
Yeah, geeks, right? But hopefully, like I'm a little bit more pragmatic and practical about the stuff that I do. But like, you've then got some people who are going, right, we need to do AI, so we're going to get a load of data scientists, we're going to get a load of data engineers, and we're going to build ourselves. Now, I understand theoretically the principle of that. However, what I'm personally seeing is, first of all, a load of geeks in a room trying to build AI don't always know what's best for the business. So there's a disconnect between the business problem and what they're trying to do.
And the operation.
100%. The second thing is, I spoke to a company and they're like, we've hired 100 AI engineers. I'm like, that's costing that must cost
costing
you
a
a fortune.
No matter where they're based, whether they're based out in India, the Philippines, anywhere,
An absolute
still costs you an arm and a leg.
I'm like, but how long is it going to take them to do the thing? Like,
and actually, are they clear on what the thing is?
No. So they're spending lots and lots of money trying to do AI. You've got you've got your IT directors or whatever, like building these teams, self-building, but actually over the course of 2 years, not getting anywhere. It's and that's not just my opinion. McKinsey, don't always value their opinion, but they said 90. They were like 90% of AI programs have delivered zero benefit. 90%. It's crazy. It's crazy. But so then you've got that bit of complexity. Now then you can sometimes have both of those two things happening at the same time.
I suppose the bigger you are, the more complex you are, but maybe the more complex you make it by accident or by definition. I don't know.
Well, we are British, so we like to wrap bureaucracy around stuff.
And
so,
there is I suppose there is an element maybe of a bit of empire building in that sense. I'm trying to build out a team just for the sake of building out an AI team.
Yeah, there is, but then the goal for me for AI is cost benefit.
Yeah.
And what should be clear to everybody now is that AI is becoming super commoditized and highly available to everybody. So I would say, like, what is the point of spending all of that money on AI engineers and things like that when it's actually like, what's the return on investment? I'm pretty good. I think I've got a good feel for these things, but I'm like, if you're spending like millions of pounds a year on that team, could you not have spent 500 grand on a tool that already exists?
So let's I suppose for the people that might be in the boat where they're deploying AI solutions and they're trying to get it right, but the costs are ramping up because people are saying, oh, you need this developer, you need this developer. What's your advice to them and how they simplify the complex?
So I would say that if you're building it yourself, you've got to business case it. You've got to business case it against the cost of your AI engineers and stuff like that.
Your total cost rather than just your efficiency cost.
Yeah, it's total
efficiency
cost
savings.
It's a total cost model, and don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Yeah. I've seen people like trying to be way too ambitious. Like, have a look at another thing.
Pick the right use case.
People don't. I don't think that people really know what the right use cases are. So then they do things like why is everybody trying to do voice agents? It's like that's like running before you can walk. Like, you're going straight away to like full agentic AI voice bots, and you're like, wait a second, but you
haven't even mastered a chatbot.
You're not mastered a chatbot. You don't even collect your coaching forms correctly. Like, your knowledge base
is shot to high heaven.
Yeah, it's like that. And you go, we're building voice bots. I'm like, what you talk about? And not just that, but also like the value of like building those bots as well. I just think he's becoming, like I said, it's commoditized. So I'm just break down the problem. And first of all, take time, like looking at where is the value, where are you losing money, where are your problems coming from, and then build very specific minimum viable products and test it. And then what's also interesting as well is, build something in house, and then do some pilots with some people who say they've got a solution, and then compare the cost between all of those three things and like test different ones, do champion challenges and stuff. That's what I would personally do.
Okay. So I think there's some useful stuff there in terms of how we break things down into their simplest components and kind of define what a first target use case is. And then it's assembling the right team on a more streamlined basis, and then saying, right, actually, once we've road tested it and we know that this is the right way to go, we then start to scale up, and then we start to partner with the right people to kind of make the right decisions, so it's not costing you a fortune, but you're doing it in a very systematic way.
Agile.
Agile.
Yeah, it's systematically test, championing, challenging. It's agile methodology, and yeah, please, for the love of God, don't hire a load of AI engineers at fixed costs. Yeah.
So we're going to tap into the final C in the next session, which is all around the competitor landscape. So stay tuned.